You know, when we talk about the future of AI, it feels like the whole conversation boils down to one huge question. Who's in charge? Who's in control? But what if the most obvious answer to that question isn't actually the smartest one? Okay, let's get into it.
I mean, you can't really get more direct than that. The alarm bells don't get much louder. In a really well-known interview, Elon Musk painted this incredibly stark picture of just how dangerous AI could be. And he's not talking about some far-off sci-fi fantasy. He's talking about a very real risk right here, right now. And that one statement, really, it just kicked off a massive global debate about how on Earth we're supposed to manage this thing.
So, okay, when you're faced with a potential threat of that size, what's the next logical step? Well, you try to figure out how to contain it, and Musk, he had a pretty clear idea for how we should do exactly that.
His logic is actually pretty simple, right? We have agencies that make sure airplanes don't just fall out of the sky. We have agencies that make sure our food and medicine are safe. So he's saying, since AI poses this huge danger to the public, why should it be any different? He's calling for a classic top-down, centralized government body to watch over AI and keep us all safe.
And on the surface, that just sounds like common sense, doesn't it? You've got a big risk, so you create a big regulator to handle it. It's a model we're all familiar with. But is it the only answer? And maybe more importantly, is it actually the best answer for a challenge as wild and unique as artificial intelligence?
Well, to dig into that very question, someone did this absolutely fascinating global survey. They basically took the big ideas from Musk's interview and asked people all over the world what they thought. And what they found was this pattern, a pattern that kind of turns the conventional wisdom on its head. The survey was called AI and the End of Civilization. No big deal, right? And it was designed to really get a feel for how the public sees AI risk. One question was key. The state should exercise control over the development of artificial intelligence. Agree or disagree? The really cool part is they then compared those answers with different ways people think, different psychological profiles.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. This number right here, they found a statistically significant negative correlation. Now, what does that mean in plain English? It means the more someone showed a specific, really complex way of thinking, the less likely they were to want a simple, top-down government agency controlling AI. So, what is this way of thinking?
Researchers call this cognitive profile yellow. Now, don't think of it as a political thing at all. Think of it more as a measure of cognitive complexity. These are folks who don't just see a problem, they see the entire interconnected system around it. They're super adaptable, and they're comfortable with complexity. You know, holding two opposing ideas in their head at the same time to try and find a better third way.
So, here's the big takeaway. The people who are arguably best equipped to understand complex things are the most skeptical of a simple, centralized solution for AI. Now, this isn't them saying they don't care about safety. Not at all. It's a rejection of oversimplification. And it just makes you wonder, what do they see that maybe the rest of us are missing?
All right, let's break down the logic here. Why would thinking in systems make you skeptical of a big government agency that's supposed to protect us from a complex system like AI? It seems kind of counterintuitive at first.
See, the choice isn't really between control and total chaos. It's between two totally different ways of thinking about governance. On one side, you have that top-down state control that Musk proposed. It's centralized, it's hierarchical, and let's be honest, it's usually pretty slow. On the other side, you have this idea of distributed stewardship, a model with many centers of decision-making, one that's way more adaptive and involves a lot more people.
This whole perspective is driven by a few really sharp insights. First, it recognizes that AI is it's immensely complex and it moves at lightning speed. It's too much for one slow-moving bureaucracy to keep up with. I mean, government bodies are often stuck in political cycles, they don't always have the deepest technical know-how, they almost always fall behind the tech. So instead of a single rulebook for everything, this view says we need smart coordination between all the players, engineers, ethicists, academics, the public, to create rules that can actually change and adapt in real time.
And this quote, this just nails it. The frustration isn't about being anti-regulation. It's about questioning whether slapping the label control on something automatically makes it competent, especially when you're dealing with a technology this powerful and this fast. It's about wanting smarter governance, not just more governance.
Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, right? But is anyone actually doing this? The answer is yes. This whole idea of distributed stewardship is already starting to shape real-world AI policy. Let's take a look at what that looks like.
Okay, so for example, the EU's AI Act, It doesn't just treat every AI the same. It creates different tiers of rules based on how risky an AI system actually is. Smart. Then you've got Singapore, where their AI Verify Foundation is basically a partnership. It combines companies checking their own work with independent reviews from the public and tech experts. And UNESCO's framework for AI ethics. It's not a strict law. It's more like a global set of principles that 193 different countries can take and adapt to fit their own cultures and needs. You see the theme? They all embrace the complexity, instead of trying to flatten it with one rule.
What all of these different approaches have in common is this one core idea. When something is this complicated, wisdom can't be held by a single government agency. It has to be multiplied, spread out, by bringing all the different voices to the table, from industry, from civil society, from academia. Real, lasting safety emerges from that network. You can't just impose it from the top down.
So that leaves us with a pretty powerful final thought. As we're trying to figure out this incredible and kind of scary future with AI, the whole debate is changing. It's not just about if we should regulate, but how. Is the answer a single powerful hand on the steering wheel, or is the true path to a safe and amazing future with AI built not by one controlling voice, but by the emergent wisdom of many?